morning, everyone, and welcome to Mount Zion, to the Job Skills Training Workshop, and the first session, which is on interview skills. You've been given a folder, and I just want to share with you what's in this folder because I want to put you to work right away. On the left-hand side of your folder, you have a registration form, and I want you to be filling that out. And we will collect those. You will leave them here. The second thing that you have is an index card. And the index card is for you to put on there any questions that you might have during the session, because we're going to hold questions off until the very end. Okay, so if you have a question, jot it on here, and we will hopefully have time to go through some of those at the end. You also have 2 vouchers in there. One is a voucher for the Deacons Conference, and one is a voucher for Mount Zion's clothing boutique. There are times and dates on there when you could go to either one of those places to get an outfit for interviews. Okay? Now, you also have on that side this packet, which is kind of just an outline of what we'll be talking about, but the very last page in this packet is a page where you can jot down some notes if you want, or of course you have a yellow pad in there that you can use for that. Okay? Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. One of the things we want you to, do we have a pink sheet? We don't have a pink sheet in these. We don't have a pink sheet in these, right. And we're talking about getting ready for interviews. And so it's important how well we know ourselves. So we want you to answer these 2 questions. What is one of your strengths? And when we talk about strengths, we're talking about something that would relate into the work world, okay? And then what is a weakness? We need to know any of our weaknesses that we may have. And hopefully we can help you kind of turn around the wording so that your weakness can also lend itself to a strength. All right? So we're going to get started. The workshop is going to have, this session, we will focus on 3 different parts of interviews. We will talk about what to do before getting ready, or getting ready for the interview, the actual interview itself, and then how you handle it after the interview. All right? And our first presenter is going to be Deacon Dunnigan.
All right, glad to see everybody this morning. As Sister Barbie said, my name is Raynard Dunnigan. I'm employed over at Pfizer as a supervisor in the manufacturing unit. So good morning. Glad to see everybody here. You are going to have a wonderful time in the day and a lot of knowledge that you're going to gain. So we're glad you're here. The subject that I'm going to be speaking on this morning is going to be, before you go, what should you know? I've been interviewing all year, and this is a great topic that we're going to start with. Before your interview, one of the things that you want to do is first impressions. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. First impressions is critical as far as trying to obtain employment. And before you go, you want to make sure that your attire is proper interview attire when you're coming in for an interview. You want to wear probably some dark or neutral colors as far as the interview. Nothing low cut, revealing, and no sagging as far as with the interview. You're coming to make a good first impression. You got about 45 minutes to an hour to impress me to hire you. And your attire, me seeing you, is going to make an impression in the first 10 seconds. No flashy jewelry or too much stylish clothing. Hair should be modest in color and style, and try to cover tattoos and remove extra piercings. I mean, what's good for you in your home environment or things like that or wherever at that time is nice, but when you're coming in for an interview, you don't know what your interviewer taste is. And like I say, first impressions is critical and key in gaining employment. Preparation. Before you come to the interview, you should also do a research of the company that you're coming to gain employment with. You should have some knowledge. How long have they been in the area? What type of businesses, what are they known for? What kind of success stories have they had? You want to know this walking in the door. You want to have this information. You want to know this already walking in the door so that you can engage that interviewer in conversations. Location, history, know who to ask for when you get there. Prepare your clothes in advance. Prepare for the hard questions. Why do you want to work here? There's so many times that I'm engaged in an interview and I'll throw out a question to the interviewee and I'll get a deer in the headlights look. So you want to be prepared. You want to know what you know coming into the interview. And you want to prepare yourself by going through some mock interviews, maybe with some family members or friends, or now you've got a packet of information for contacts now that, and after you leave today, that you'll have all this. You'll be prepared, guaranteed. Clean up social network information. Must be professional. I know everybody is on Facebook. A lot of people is on Facebook. Names. If you give me your name and your resume, and I want to check you out prior to coming to the interview, I may do a search on Facebook to find out who you are. Depending on what I see, it's going to make an impression. I just had a entry-level position that I was hiring for over it. It was a packaging operator position. 367 applicants that I had to go through, resumes that I had to go through. So if I wanted to go out and do a search, what am I going to see on your page? You want to think about that because you don't want to turn me off because that's what I'm using to contact you. Okay? So keep that in mind. Reconfirm the contact addresses and phone numbers. Critical. I've got to be able to contact you. If you send me a resume, if you apply for a job, I have your resume in hand. The contact number that you just put on your resume no longer works. I can't make contact with you. I want to call you. I want to get you in there to see you, but I can't. Make sure that the message on your answer machine, first impression. I may not want to hear Huey Lewis in the news when I call you. I may not want to hear a rap group when I call you. I want to hear a professional on the other end of the phone because I want to hire you. So therefore, I need to hear you on the telephone saying, this is such and such. If you're calling about employment, I am interested. Leave me a message. I'll contact you as soon as I get it. I want to hear that. I want to hear that energy. Obtain an email address. A lot of people is doing things with email. I need to contact you. So make sure that we have that information as well. This is some attire that you might want to wear. Nice shoes, clean, tie, nice skirt, low skirt, comfortable shoes, things like that. That's what you want to wear when you come present yourself. Don'ts. Definitely no-nos. Definite no-nos. There's so many stories that I could tell you. I mean, like I say, I've been interviewing now for a few years, and there's so many stories that I could tell you of people not being prepared. So this is a wonderful event today. Wonderful event today because I've interviewed for different positions, and you'll be astonished at how some people walk in that door. And I'm like, I've got 45 minutes to an hour blocked off for the interview, correct? They walk in that door, and I give them 5 minutes because I'm done. I have shut down. I'm done. Just because they were not serious about gaining employment with Pfizer. You see what I'm saying? First impression is huge. It's huge. So you may not want to come in there sagging. I don't know. You may not want to. This may be okay if you're going out for the evening, but not if you're coming to gain employment. You also want to have a folder. Bring a pen, bring a paper, portfolio folder, paper, resume, questions. Be prepared to ask questions. I need you engaged with me, so therefore be engaged to ask questions. At the end of all my interviews, the first thing I do is say, hey, do you have any questions for me? And that the person says, nope, no questions at all. Okay, so you're not interested if I'm going to call you back? You're not interested in, you see what I'm saying? So always be prepared to ask questions. Be there 15 minutes early. Be nice to everyone, speak to everyone, have a smile on your face. You're coming to impress me. You want the job. Turn off your cell phones. Realize the interview begins when you walk in the building, not when I engage you in conversation. Get rid of the gum, get rid of the drink, cell phones off, iPods history. Okay? Come in there prepared, confident. I want to see confidence in your face when you walk in that door. Come in there prepared. Come in there confident. Come in there ready to speak to me. I should like you when you walk out. When I see you, I should like you already. Okay? All right. Sister Barbie?
Great. You know something I noticed immediately with everyone in this room, that you're all sitting up straight and you're being attentive. And that is something that is really, really important. As Deacon Dunnigan mentioned, as soon as you come in the door, you are making an impression. Let's say that you go up to the receptionist to announce who you are. You're going to say, hello, my name is Chiquita Barbie. You're going to make eye contact with the receptionist and anyone else that's out there, because you're observing the environment. You're observing what's going on in this company. Now, other people may speak to you. If they do, you can respond to questions very briefly with other people, but don't get too chatty. You're there for a purpose. You're there looking for a job. Now, once the interviewer comes out, or you're ushered into the room for the interview, wait until you are offered a seat before you sit down. They will offer you a seat, but you wait until that seat is offered. Sometimes there may be more than one interviewer. If there are 3 or 4, then you don't have to speak to all of them, but as you're speaking to the initial one, you're going to make eye contact with everyone who's around the table, just to acknowledge that they're there, all right? Deacon Dunnigan also mentioned, as soon as you walk in, you're making an impression. You want to look pleasant. When you sit down, you want to, again, make eye contact with the interviewer. He also mentioned practicing some of the difficult questions. Many times an interviewer will want to make you at ease. And so he or she may say, did you have trouble finding us? How was your drive over this morning? Respond to those questions briefly, but very positively. You may also be asked, tell me a little bit about yourself. Have a couple of questions or a couple of statements prepared to tell about yourself. Perhaps what interests you have, maybe why you have come for this interview and want to work in that company. But just a couple of sentences as you're telling about yourself, because many times they may ask you that just to kind of, calm you down or put you at ease. Another one, why did you apply for this job? Be prepared to answer that. One of the most critical ones, if you have on your job history, you may be asked, why did you leave your last job? They made me mad is not an appropriate response. Be prepared to say, I am now, I decided to go back to school. I moved away from the area for a while. I became a stay-at-home mom or dad for a while. Be prepared for that question, because if there are gaps in your employment history, the interviewer will probably address those. And you want to be prepared for that, okay? Another one, what skills and abilities do you bring to this position? Perhaps you're very good at being a mediator, bringing different ideas together, bringing different people together. That is a skill that employers really want, because it shows that you know how to work in a team. Perhaps you are very detail-oriented. You look at all of the fine print. You look at all of the things that are going to be in that report. That's a strength. And so you want to be able to share what are some of your strengths and what are some of your abilities that you're bringing to that. I talked about team. You may even be asked, do you prefer to work in a team or by yourself? Now, even if you prefer to work by yourself, perhaps you might say, I can work in a team. I like to have an assignment. I like to have something that I'm responsible for on that team that then I can bring back and be a part of that team. So as Deacon Dunnigan was saying, when you're looking at some of the questions, and some of these are right in your packet, perhaps practice having your answers for those questions. Practice with somebody at home, a good friend, so that you begin to feel really comfortable with your responses to those questions. All right, here, remember to look, act, listen, and speak. Remember to look confident. Any employer wants to feel that the person they're interviewing right now can handle the job. And so you want to give that impression that, yes, I'm applying for this job because I know I can do it. And that's the confidence piece that you always want to display. Another thing that many times an employer will want to know is, how did you handle it when a project you were working on or something you were doing didn't turn out the way you wanted it to? So be, again, prepared. Well, I looked at what was done, how we did it, and tried to analyze how I could do it better the next time. Because we all have things that we get involved in that don't always turn out A+. So we want to be prepared to respond to those kinds of questions and not be caught off guard. Also, another question, if something happened on your previous job that really upset you, how did you handle that? Again, really think about what you know the employer wants to hear. He doesn't want to hear that you stormed out the door or that you quit the job. He wants to hear how you were able to deal with the situation in a calm manner. So think about those things and be prepared to respond to them when you're asked. You may not be asked, but it's better to be prepared than to be caught, as Deacon Dunnigan said, as a deer in the headlights. All right? And then after the interview. Now, hopefully, if you have any questions, you're jotting those down, because we want to address those at the end of the session. After the interview, again, when the interviewer will indicate that the interview is over by saying, "Thank you so much for coming," and you're going to, good point, you're going to shake hands firmly, you're going to make that eye contact, and then get up and exit. Now, on your way out, make sure, if you don't have this written down, make sure that you check with the receptionist so that you have the name of the interviewer, the name and address of the company. Why? You're going to send a thank you note. Now, many people ignore that, but it really sets you apart. It gives the company and the interviewer the idea that this person is really serious and really professional. You're going to send that thank you note. Then wait maybe a few days after you send the thank you note and call back and just let them know this is Chiquita Barbie, and I am calling back. I was interviewed a few days ago, and I just want to check back and see if there's a different status on my application. All right? There is in your packet a sample thank you note that we want you to use. It shows you where you will put the names, your name. It's very brief. You don't want something that's really wordy. It's only about one paragraph. That's right at the end of your packet. And also, Deacon Dunnigan already spoke about voicemail, email, where you can get an email. That's all in your packet as well. And we want you to succeed. We want you to really feel that not only are you getting help here, but later when you do land an interview. And so it says down at the bottom of one of your pages, help. If you want some assistance from one of the interview team members, any one of us, you can call Mount Zion. The number is in there. And Reverend Burns is the one who is going to be the contact person. And she will connect us up so that perhaps we can help you get ready for a specific interview. We'd be glad to do that because we really want this to be successful for each one of you. Right? Now, I think at this point we can entertain questions. It's now time for some questions and answers. And we have some of the questions here that people asked during the workshop that perhaps we were not unable to answer all of them then. One of them was in reference to the appropriate attire for an interview. What if I don't have a suit to wear to the interview? Always know that a shirt, pair of slacks, a sweater, a pair of slacks is always fine for your interview. Just make sure that they are clean, neat in appearance, that they fit well. They're not too baggy, they're not tight. The important thing is to look neat and professional in whatever you're wearing. Another question in relation to attire. What if I'm applying for a job where I'm going to be stocking inventory or working in a factory? Do I have to wear a suit? No. But for whatever job you're applying, you always want to attend the interview dressed a step up from what you might be wearing at work. Don't come in dirty tennis shoes, sagging pants, or even jeans that are ill-fitting. Everything should fit well, and you should always be dressed as professionally as you can. We have one more question related to how to dress for an interview. And a couple of people said, well, what if all of my clothes are dressy or they have sequins or a lot of bling on them and I can't afford to get new clothes? I don't even have a job right now. Well, we do know that Mount Zion has a clothes house. The Deacons Conference also has clothes that are available. So either of those places would be a good starting point for you to go there when they are open and see what is available that you can use for your interview outfit. On the cards that you were given specific times, and there are people who are there at both places who can help you select something that would be suitable. Now let's move on to something else. Another question that was asked was, now when you say about knowing something about the company, how much should we know about it? Well, when you're going to apply for a job, at least know, of course, the name of the company. But if they are a manufacturing company, what do they make? What are some of the products that are made there? Perhaps even know how long they've been in the area here in Kalamazoo. You might also know if they've been in the newspaper recently or in the news, either expanding or coming out with a new product. That will impress your interviewer that you've done your homework and you found out something about this company. If you're applying for a specific job in that company, know a little bit about what those duties might entail. Be up on what exactly you're coming to apply for and what skills you have that will benefit you in that position. Our last question was more on your presentation of yourself. Someone asked, even though you tell me to be confident, how do I achieve that without seeming that I'm bragging on myself or being arrogant? It's all in the delivery. Your stature, how you're sitting during the interview, how you present yourself with a firm handshake, all of that exudes confidence. And as far as bragging, you are there to sell yourself. You want that job. But when you talk about your skills, simply talk about them in relation to how they will allow you to do the job you're applying for and do it well. All of these questions came to us through some of the people who attended the workshop, and we hope that as you're reviewing some of these questions, they will trigger some memory and trigger some points that you want to make sure you pay attention to as you're preparing for your interview.